Hey guys, what's up? It's Karl, and it is finally budget TV setup time, and I know this video has taken me the longest time to make. You've all asked for it because in all of my TV setup videos, I've looked at projectors over that 100-inch mark for $10,000, $5,000, even $3,000 is too expensive. We are in the range of around 500 bucks, and you are still getting 100 inches. You can see it off to the side, which makes it a pretty cool model. This is the Anchor Nebula, and they partnered with Star Wars to create this limited edition R2-D2 model. When I saw it, I knew that I had to get my hands on it. And as many of you know, I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan. You can always see bits of Star Wars Lego kicking around all of my sets. So you can see here, this is pretty legit. It's from, of course, Star Wars. They've got the official branding. It comes in this pretty cool box. We've got our boys R2-D2, C-3PO, and of course Luke inside. So technically this is limited edition. They have the standard Nebula Capsule 2 as a standalone. If you want this pretty limited edition Star Wars one, you'll have to act pretty fast. So this is the actual unit itself. You can see it's pretty portable. It's only around 6 inches tall. And the key specs for this, you can get an image size as small as 20 inches all the way up to that 100-inch mark. So many of you know at home, I already have a 100-inch projector screen. That's really where I've been testing this, but it also works behind me on this blank wall. I've tested it out here in the studio. The fact that it's super portable means you could just throw this into your backpack. You could bring it with you to any room or just have it as a mobile projector. I think that's pretty cool. The one accessory that I would grab is just a mini tripod stand. I have these kicking around here at the studio, at home as well. Because it has a 1/4-inch connector at the bottom, if you just kind of screw this on, and now you can kind of articulate it to fit your setup, and it'll just ensure you'll have a nice straight image wherever you're projecting this onto your wall. So this one's from Manfrotto. I also have a Benro one, which I use over at home. I think the color matches it better as it has that blue ring to lock it in place, matches the blue of R2-D2. Ports on the back, you've got USB-C to provide power and also to charge, as it does have 3 hours of battery life as a standalone. We'll get to that in a bit. USB, HDMI, and auxiliary for audio. The coolest thing actually though is when you initially start this up, we'll just press the little button on the back. You'll actually hear R2-D2 kicking it off. We can just put this near the microphone. It's a cool little quirky thing that it does, and also when you power it off, you'll hear R2-D2's voice again. So like I mentioned, you'll get around 20 to 100 inches depending on how far you have it from the wall. Setup is super simple because it has an automatic autofocus built in. It'll get around 200 lumens of brightness, and that's really where you consider that price point. So 500 bucks, I know that it's maybe not the brightest. On days like today, you can kind of see it shining behind me. You can kind of see it, it's a bit faint, so your best viewing experience will be at night, or if you have blackout blinds, just try to reduce all of the natural light or any artificial light that could compete against this. It is running Android TV 9.0, so it's super simple to set up. Just follow all of the prompts over on your smartphone, and you have access to pretty much every single streaming app. I think the library is sitting right over 5,000 apps, but I just stream the usual Netflix, Amazon Prime, even some Disney+. You could theoretically even hook up your gaming console, and because this is a budget setup, I actually tested out my Xbox Series S, one of the cheaper, or I guess the cheapest current next-gen console. Or if you want to keep things super budget, you can always play off of your smartphone. I think I mentioned my favorite feature is the portability, and it's one of the few projectors that can run solely off of battery power. So you'll get around 2.5 hours, like I mentioned, to 3 of video playback, or even say 30 for audio playback. It does have a built-in speaker. It sounds decent if you actually look at its size. It produces some pretty decent sound. If you want to up the game, you could go full extreme and connect it to a soundbar, but since this is a budget episode, I just connected it to a Bluetooth speaker, so nice and cheap. I just kind of picked this one from LG. This is the PL7. I just chose it because it actually mimics the shape. So you've got 2 little cylinder things to complete your setup. Sound output is pretty great. You can see the 2 radiators on the outside. It's got some nice deep bass. You can also see the lights on the outside that sync to the music or the video that you're playing back. And I think it looks pretty sleek in the setup, but remember, this is completely optional. You can get away with the sound output just from the projector alone. And to complete the setup, I know that we're working a bit backwards, but I did choose some furniture from IKEA. A lot of you mentioned my furniture choices are on the pricier end. You literally cannot get cheaper than this IKEA desk or IKEA TV stand. This model specifically is called the Besta, and it's 60 bucks brand new, so you definitely cannot go cheaper than that. It also serves, I think, like a standard book stand or as a media console. It's really multi-use depending on what you use it for. I've just chosen mine to get it in the standard white. I recommend this to anyone that's looking to keep on the budget side. Just remember, it is IKEA stuff. It isn't the best quality. It's just made out of pressed wood. I actually kind of damaged it a couple times moving it from my locker up to the TV room just to make this setup. With that in mind though, it is still a pretty decent size and you can kind of put whatever you want to complete your own setup in the front. So you can see I've got my older Xbox Series X, or Xbox One X I should say, the Xbox Series S. I also added Link's little play box, so inside of there are all of his toys, and it actually came from a Legend of Zelda anime collection. This entire anime collection originally came in that, but now I guess Link owns it. You can kind of see where Link got his name from. To tie in the Star Wars theme to match R2-D2, I also threw in a Lego TIE Fighter. And the last part of this setup is just my preferred smart speaker of choice, which is just the standard Nest Audio. And I know it's in the budget edition because Google did knock down the price. It's still under $100 compared to some of their older Nest hubs. I do still think Google has the best smart home speakers. They look super minimal, so I've got a matching one here for the studio in green. Speaking of which, completely unrelated, but on the opposite side of the TV area, I have two Apple HomePods, which are technically now discontinued. So if you own them, I guess you could have that part of your setup, but I guess they'll eventually become outdated because they're software based. So when your new iPhone or your iOS device no longer supports that, you technically can't pair them. So maybe those will be collector's items for me one day. Just had to mention that, and to kind of finish off the rest of the setup, I will leave link down below where I got my rug. It was a budget rug. The coffee table, which I got also super cheap. Usually on there lives the remote, which did come with the projector. I usually have my Xbox controllers on there, and once again, completely unrelated, The Rock, one of my favorite idols, sent over the Zoa Edition controller in collaboration with the launch of his new energy drink, Zoa. Not the biggest fan, to be honest, The Rock. It's kind of like a weird combination of Red Bull and a Coke Zero. It has this really weird artificial sugary taste, even though it has sugar inside of it. So The Rock, maybe not your best venture, but hey, weird plug for Zoa. Obviously not sponsored, would love to get sponsored by The Rock. I hope you guys enjoyed this video though on the budget side. So like I said, you could technically build this out. So say $500, you could get a Bluetooth speaker for 50 bucks, the TV stand for say another 50. The console, you can kind of choose your old one. As long as you have a blank wall, you have a 100-inch setup for around that $600 mark, which I don't think is too shabby. So I hope you guys enjoyed this budget edition. I hope this is budget enough for you guys. And I'll actually shoot an email over to Anchor to hopefully hook you guys up with an R2-D2 model of your own. So hopefully I can give one away to you guys. Just comment down below what you would watch on a 100-inch screen and pretty much sub to the channel. I can't ask for anything more, and I will catch the rest of you in one of my next vids. Peace.